Good morning, ma'am. Today I am going to say experiment 9 in advanced database management system, that is to insert, delete, update using triggers, functions and processes. This experiment is about a PLSQL. PLSQL is a procedure language that we use both SQL queries and we use some procedure and some functions. In this we use triggers and cursors. And coming to description, the main aim of this experiment is to insert, delete, update using triggers, functions, procedures. And coming to description, triggers. First, coming to triggers will implement automatically by triggers are stored as procedures. Triggers are in database include SQL and PLSQL or Java statements to run as a unit and can invoke procedures. Triggers triggers will start automatically when we start an application. So there are many trigger standard capabilities of Oracle to provide a highly customized database management system. Uh, there are many advantages of triggers that automatically generate derived column values, prevent invalid transactions, enforce complex security authorizations, and enforce complex business rules, and provide auditing and so on. It will use triggers are used to modify table data when DML statements are issued against views. This is the syntax for triggers. In triggers, we use a create or replace trigger name, and we will give before or after or instead, and we will give an instructions like insert command, delete command or update command, and we will specify a column name on table name. And for each row we will give a condition by using when, and we will begin and we will end. So there are many types of PLSQL triggers. There are two types of triggers, that is row level triggers and statement level triggers. For low level trigger, an event is triggered for each row updated, inserted or deleted. Statement level trigger, an event is triggered for each SQL statement that executed. And there are different hierarchies followed in trigger when it is fired. Before statement trigger fires first, next before level trigger fires once for each row affected. Then we use after and before and instead of in triggers. So finally the after statement level trigger fires. And so what is a procedure? So procedure is like a subprogram in a regular computing language stored in database. There are many useful applications of SQL procedures within a database or database application architectures. We can create procedures in simple scripts for qualify quickly querying transformation. We can quickly there are many features of procedures that may be like SQL processes are more reliable than equivalent external processes. It supports input output parameter passing modes, and this is the syntax for procedure language. We will use create or replace a procedure name, same as trigger, but here we use as in or out or in out type, but there we will use as after, before, instead of, like that. So here we use another as is or as begin, and in begin and end between we use a body of procedure. So function is similar to procedure, but function will return a value. This is also having a syntax like a procedure, but here we will use like a create or replace function name. Instead of procedure we use as function. And here same as procedure, in out type, but here it is a special feature that we will return a value that will give a return type. And next is or as, then begin and end. Between that function body we will write. And coming to first question, and that is create a simple trigger that does not allow insert, update and delete operations on the supplier table. So we already created a supplier table that should create a trigger. So here I already did some queries. So here trigger is created. This is for syntax create or replace trigger. This is trigger name. Before insert or delete or update on supplier table, we will begin and roll back. And we will use an update command. Here is an update command, update supplier set rating equal to 3, and here it will give an error because we cannot roll back in a trigger. So it will give an error that during execution of a trigger there will be an error. So similarly we cannot delete and we cannot insert. So here also it will give the same error. And while inserting, so it will give an error that it is invalid or revalidation is not done. So coming to next question, create a trigger that raises an user defined error message and does not allow updating the order table. So here we are using an order table. So in trigger we are having syntax. First we will create and then we will give after update or before update, or instead of here trigger is created, we create another trigger for update that we are using order table for each row. If updating, then it will raise an application error that it is an error. So if we update, so it will generate an error that is arising an application error out of range and error during execution of trigger. So coming to next question. So this is the output. So coming to next question, write a PL/SQL script to display the product names whose ordered quantity is greater than 10 using cursors. For using cursors we will set server output on. So after that we will use cursors. So we will give a statement like this declare one product like cluster we took. We can give any name here. So product description, percentage type, and we use cursor, and we use a query that to display the product id quantity greater than 10 that are present in cursors. We will open a cursor and we will open a loop, and then we will fetch. After fetching we will exit, and after that we will use this line for dbms underscore output dot put underscore line. Then we will end the loop and we will close cursor and we will end. And so by this it will get an output like this, and it will give an output as PLSQL procedure successfully completed. And next question is creating a trigger while the supplied quantity is greater than the ordered quantity. So here we will create again a trigger. So here we will use one is so here we will use a different one is old as one is new. So we will create a trigger as one is new and one is old. So we will declare a temporary variable for each row. We use supplier table, and if it is not okay, then we will generate error. Like this we will create a trigger. So we will create or replace trigger. So before insert on supplier table, on supplier table referencing on referencing new as new, old as old. For each row we will declare a temporary variable. We will begin an if condition. If new dot quality not equal to old dot quality. So then we will generate a dbms dot output dot in dbms underscore dbms underscore output dot put underscore line of error and we will end this. So slash enter trigger is created. And coming to next question. So, write a trigger to update the order table whenever the customer ID is updated in the customer table. So here we are using customer table, and so this is the syntax we will use: create or replace trigger as another. This is customer ID, customer table. So like this we will use. So we will create a trigger. So trigger is created. So here we use as a new and old. We can refer new one or old one. So this is the syntax for create or replace or to create a trigger. This is for new one and this is for old one. So coming to next question, we should update. So we cannot update a trigger that we know. So coming to next question, write a PLSQL procedure that will accept the product ID from the user, check if the product is supplied by the supplier, and display the status. And here we use mode variables and we use a cursor. And so first we will give declare, we use cursor, and we use as a supplier table, and A is a declared, B is declared ID, and as temporary variable we are taken. And then we use a procedure status exit number as, and we will begin and we will open a cursor and we will open a loop that will fetch cursor into id and temporary variable, and we will exit that, and we will give an if condition, and then we will give as temporary, and we will end that loop, and end if end loop, and we will use the status, and we use the status, and then we initialize a equal to 5000, and we take that status as a call, and we will end that procedure. So coming to next question, write a procedure to calculate total price for the product that has been supplied and pass the supplier ID as the argument. So here we declare, and then we use two cursors. One is for supplier and another is for products. And here we give different initializations like A, B, ID, IDs. Here it is a product ID, and here is it is price. As we all we declare as integers, and temporary variable is taken, we will calculate total, so total also taken. So we open cursors and we'll go into loop, we fetch that and we exit that, and again we will open another loop, cursor loop, and we will fetch that and we will exit, and then we will go to last, we will end everything and we will get a total, and we will get an output like PLSQL procedure successfully completed. Coming to next question. Write a procedure raise quantity which increases the quantity of the ordered product. It accepts an order ID and quantity to be increased. It uses the order ID to find the current quantity from the order table and update the quantity. And so coming to this question, we need to have, like, first we use a cursor. So here we are using supplier table. So supplier ID and quantity must be taken. So here we use temporary variable. We will raise a quantity that x in number, y in number. So we will open similarly as that. We will open cursor loop and we will fetch and we will exit. Similarly, we will use another if condition. So like this we will raise quantity and we will get an output like PLSQL procedure successfully completed. So we are updating a quantity, so we will get updated quantity is PLSQL procedure successfully completed. And coming to next question, write a PLSQL function status to return value supplied if the procedure number passed to it is available in the supplier table, else will return not supplied. So here it similarly gives as cursors we are using. So we will use set server output on, and we will give as declare one cursor. We are getting supplier ID from supplier table. So we initialize varchar, we use function status, and in functions we return a value, and this is the begin statement, and we open cursor loop fetch exit. And similarly we here we are using if else statement. So after that we will end if loop, and we will end that loop and we will return some value. So we are using functions. So it will give, if it is supplied means it will give supplied, but it is not supplied, then it will give not supplied. So it will give PLSQL procedure successfully executed. And coming to last question, write a PLSQL function to return the product name when the product ID is passed as an argument. So here is the last one. Here we use cursors, and this is the product ID, product description from product table. So we use functions, we return values. Similarly, we use a cursor. First we open loop fetch exit, and then we use the ifs. We will end this if loop, and we will end this loop, and we will return some values, and then it will give output as manager does, and finally it will give an output as PLSQL statement procedure successfully completed. Thank you.